What?
For almost 40 years. And they lied to my family. They wrote my dad's letters saying that at 26 times more than what humans are supposed to drink, it's okay for you to drink. But, you know, he didn't know what the numbers meant. He just, all he saw was that there's something there, but it won't hurt you. Nothing that will cause any adverse health effects.
They told him?
Yes.
Your father did?
Yes.
The county?
No, the state and EPA and this county, but they wrote him letters. EPA's letterhead was on the letter, the first letter, and it said, we've got this chemical here, but it won't hurt you. Then the state backed it up. They sent him a letter also saying, you know, there's two cancer causes. We know now. We didn't know then there were cancer causes. They just said there's two chemicals, and they named them, but they won't cause any adverse health effects. And again, it was 26 times more than what humans were supposed to be exposed to. And so for almost 40 years, we drank the water, and it's long-term effects that will finally give you cancer. You can't be exposed to it for a couple of, well, some people maybe, but most people, it takes years of continuously drinking it. And EPA had standards, and their standards were based totally on drinking it. Now, in my household, I grew up, there were 6 people in the house. So we were being bombarded with this chemical because every time someone took a shower, whoever was in the house was exposed because the vapors, it was in the air. Then we found out even by flushing the commode, we were being exposed because the vapors, when it twirls, that was exposing us. And if you cooked with it, you know, we were just being you know, just bombarded with this chemical. And they knew this. They went to every white person in that county that had TCE in their wells. They told them. They took them off the water, gave them a alternate water source, and they told them, do not wash your clothes, do not drink it, do not even water your lawn.
Sheila, wait, okay, I'm trying to really wrap my mind around this. How they told them and didn't tell your father or the other African Americans? That's what you're saying, that we're living in this county.
Right.
That are living in.
Right. Yes. This is the state, this is EPA, and this is the county. You know, they all conspired to not let us know.
So how did you find out?
It was there. I guess I started to look for reasons why everybody in the community was getting cancer, and it led back to the landfill and ultimately to those state records and, you know, to EPA. And I've talked to EPA. I've talked to the person that worked on the site. These people are still employed. They have never been written up. Nobody's been fired. You know, nothing has happened to anybody that made these decisions.
Oh, I know that we have 2 other distinguished guests here. I'm assuming that some way you are connected with Sheila. Dr. Winfield, will you tell our viewing audience a little bit about who you are and how you got involved with Sheila?
Okay, I'm an associate professor of chemistry at Fisk University, and I had a community environmental program. And part of our program's efforts is to provide support to communities that are impacted by these exposure to environmental toxics, to help give them the information and knowledge that they need to effectively fight these injustices within their communities. Because oftentimes in dealing with these agencies, you get hit with a lot of technical jargon, and part of that is on purpose because they kind of snow you, and you don't have the information to sort through that and figure out what it all means. And so we're there to provide that kind of support. And it is through other contacts that we have regarding environmental justice that Sheila and I connected. And so since then, it's been a very fruitful relationship because I've been able to help her sort through some of this information.
Mm-hmm. Had you ever heard of?
Oh yeah, I'd heard of the situation, you know, because it's been discussed, you know, in our circles for some time.
Oh.
And but it wasn't until, you know, Sheila began her drive to address this issue that it came out. But, you know, it was quite clear that the data is there. She showed me some of the papers and letters and things, and you can go through there and you can see that there's clear documentation that the toxic materials were there, that they were at abnormally high levels, and yet they were not addressed. And you can see that there was just clear neglect of duty on the part of government officials in terms of stepping up to the plate and making sure that her family was not continually exposed to this. Because you can see where other wells were monitored over this period in the 90s, but her family's well was not. And it was even bad because at one point the city of Dixon was actually pumping well water, you know, out of the same aquifer, and they discovered in their city water were these same toxic chemicals, and they shut down that well and went to find another source. But her family, you know, was allowed to continue drinking this well water. So it's a clear case of government neglect and failure to respond and failure to be sensitive to the needs of the citizens. The data is overwhelming, and the levels that she talked about are clearly much higher than have been set. But we've got something called the minimum contaminant level, and that's the maximum contaminant level, and that's the maximum level that you should have of trichloroethylene in your drinking water. And the highest level shown there was thousands of times higher than that.
Oh, my God. Oh, well, Doc, whew. Oh,